Okay, what's going on, everybody? We are here. We are live. I want to thank you all for joining me today. If you can see and hear me clearly, please drop a one in the live chat and then we can get today's stream started. As I'm waiting for the ones to come into the live chat, if you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button. That is the most important thing you do for me on this channel. What it does, that helps make sure that those who are subscribed to the channel will indeed get the notifications, and it also helps to push this video through the YouTube algorithm as well. Secondly, if you're new to the channel, or maybe you're one of those ghost watchers always watching my content, watching my live streams, but you're refusing to hit the subscribe button, please do me a favor as well as yourself a favor by hitting the subscribe button as well as that bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a video. And lastly, please make sure you follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. I cannot beg enough for you guys to do that if you haven't already. What that does is that it helps circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning, and you don't have to tell me about how YouTube unsubscribed you from the channel and that you don't get my notifications anymore, because as long as you're following me on Telegram, you will get every notification. Now that I see the ones are coming into the live chat, let's get today's stream started. Right, let's get it moving, let's get it going this Friday evening. I was thinking about this before the stream started, or as I was kind of putting it together mentally in my head, and I'll share it with you all now. And I'm sure you saw it on the thumbnail, obviously, before you clicked on it. I want to say for the last 2 years, easily, hands down, Brandon Johnson took the crown as the worst mayor in the United States. 2023, no contest, worst mayor. 2024, no contest, worst mayor. And I was pretty sure that Brandon Johnson, the mayor of the People's Republic of Chicago, I was pretty sure that he was going to three-peat. I was sure of it that he was going to three-peat this year. But out of nowhere, it looks like Karen Bass is coming for the throne. I think that Karen Bass just might actually dethrone Brandon Johnson as the worst mayor in the United States in 2025. There's still a lot of time left, but Karen has definitely taken the lead. And outside of all the things that have been discussed about Karen Bass, and the cuts to the fire department, given the wildfires that's been going on out here in California, one of the moments that definitely pushed her in the lead well past Brandon Johnson right now is this moment right here. I'm going to pull it up for you right now. Many of you have probably seen this already. Yeah, three-peat. I thought Brandon Johnson was going to three-peat, but Karen Bass took the lead so far. She took the lead. And this moment right here really put her out ahead of Brandon Johnson. This moment right here. When I believe this was when she was getting off her plane in LA, coming back home from her Ghana trip. Now, mind you, she took a vacation to Ghana, right? Took a vacation to Ghana. I believe it was for a wedding, knowing full and well and briefed beforehand that the wildfires that have taken place and has destroyed entire neighborhoods and is still raging right now, sweeping neighborhoods away and turning them into dust. She knew that this stuff was going to happen beforehand. She was warned about the possibility of all this. And she said, yeah, not my problem. I'm headed to Africa anyways. And this was her response to the news and whether or not she shouldn't have left town. This is how she responded to the questions that she was being asked upon her return. Let's get into this video right here and let's hear what Karen Bass has to say.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today? Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster? No apology for them? Do you think you should have been visiting Ghana while this was unfolding back home?
Nothing. Just silence. Listen, even Brandon Johnson would have spoke, and he would have said some foolishness. He would have said complete foolish nonsense. But even Brandon Johnson, I believe, would have had some words to say. She had nothing to say because she didn't get the official script from her DNC handlers yet. And since she didn't get her official script from the handlers, she decided to stay quiet and just not say anything at all whatsoever. She just didn't care because she doesn't care, right? I'm just not going to say anything. So now, as things have continued to unfold concerning the wildfires and what's going on with all these, wild budget cuts and the preventative measures and things that could have happened, that didn't happen, that could have made these wildfires not as bad. What we're finding out now is this. Let me pull this article up on the screen for you right now, right? Look at what we're just now finding out concerning Karen Bass, the mayor of the mayor of Los Angeles. Leaked memo reveals LA Mayor Karen Bass demanded her fire department cut an extra $49 million just 1 week before wildfires broke out. 1 week before wildfires broke out. She was already talking about cutting another $49 million. And this is a leaked memo that was released that was not supposed to get out, but whistleblowers within the fire department put it out because the public does deserve to know this stuff. The memo is dated January 6th, only a day before the devastating Palisade fire started. According to the sources, it was sent from LAFD top brass at City Hall to division chiefs and captains after a fraught meeting the previous Friday between Chief Kristin Crowley and Mayor Bass. Now, these are two sentences that I'm getting ready to read here from that actual leaked memo. And just so you know, this isn't hearsay. This is a screenshot of the actual leaked memo, right? And listen to how absurd this is. And this also leads into the question that I titled this video with. I believe I titled today's video, "Is Karen Bass literally trying to burn Los Angeles down?" And this is why I say that based off of what was in the memo, right? The LAFD is still going through a fiscal year. The LAFD is still going through a financial year, 2024, 2025, $48.8 million budget reduction exercise with the city attorney's office, the document said. Now listen to this. The only way to provide a cost savings would be to close as many as 16 fire stations, not resources, fire stations. That was the only way they would have been able to cut $49 million. This equates to at least one fire station per city council district. This woman is insane. And I'm also beginning to believe that this money might possibly, allegedly, be stolen. And I'm going to get into why I believe that in just a moment with all these budget cuts and things of that nature. I think some of these folks are really just kind of pocketing this money, right? The article continues to read, and this right here is going to come from a senior firefighter, right? A 25-year veteran who will remain anonymous, right? Because obviously he didn't want to reveal himself to the Daily Mail. But when the 25-year fire department veteran talked to the Daily Mail concerning the memo, this is what he had to say. He stated, "They did not want this out. It's an internal memo, not to be distributed. Too late. Shout out to the men and women at the fire department for leaking this." He went on to say, "It comes from top brass downtown City Hall. Get this." And here's where I believe the stealing is about to happen. "They're trying to allocate more money for the homeless, and they need to start taking from everybody." Now, if you remember the video that I released yesterday concerning budget cuts with the fire department and everything like that, What was disclosed in the article that I read yesterday was that the budget to deal with the homeless in Los Angeles has already ballooned up to $1.3 billion versus I believe it was $876 million the budget was for the fire departments, right? But $1.3 billion, $1.3 billion to deal with homelessness. Out of that $1.3 billion that's already been budgeted out, or that was budgeted out, I should say, the Los Angeles comptroller did an audit and found that only half of the money was spent of the $1.3 billion. So why do you need an additional 49 million, if not more than that, when you still have half of $1.3 billion lying around that hasn't been used? If you ask me, in my opinion, what I believe, right? What I think, what I believe, what I assume is that these folks are out here stealing money, stealing tens of millions of dollars, because this literally makes no sense. And they were willing to cut an additional $49 million from the fire department on top of the $17 million that they already cut at the expense of shutting down 16 additional fire stations, not resources, fire stations, right? This is crazy. And like I said, I think that there's a little bit of thievery going on. I think there's a lot of folks that have their hand in a pot and sticking their hand in it and putting it right in their pocket. Now, the 25-year fire department veteran continued to state, but we already exhausted our budget. It's already tapped. That $875 million that was budgeted for the fire department, they're already gone. It's already gone. Money's done. Half of that 1.3 billion is still lying around, but their budget, they spent it all already. That's why they cut the fire academy in half so they could save more money. That's why we're not testing if hydrants work anymore. It's crazy. We're doing everything we can to save money. They completely ran out of money. And then you're wondering why fire hydrants are running out of water in the middle of trying to stop a wildfire. He continues to say, we have fire engines we can't get parts for. When one breaks down, we strip it of parts to put it on other fire engines because we can't buy any more parts. If you shut down 16 stations, that's about 750 personnel, 750 firefighters out of a job. Then they expect us to take the same call volume. And yesterday we did 3,800 calls, almost twice of what our daily call volume usually is. We're already shy 200 paramedics. And we're on the verge of another 200 quitting because we can't do this anymore. If we don't work overtime, they suspend and threaten to terminate us. It's unattainable. These firefighters are being abused at this point, underfunded and abused, and threatened to be fired if they don't work. Bass wanted to cut even more. One source briefed on the meeting said they asked for $49 million more on Friday last week, the chief said. We don't have it. The mayor said, find it. Why is she so thirsty to collect this money? I'm pretty sure it's not really for the homeless. I'm pretty sure that's not what this is about. But she told the fire department chief, well, I don't know what you're going to do, but you're going to find me my $49 million, even if it comes at the expense of closing down 16 more fire stations. You're going to run me my money. You're going to run my money. Okay. And what I find interesting about all this, right? Do I want to carry on with reading the rest of this? I guess I will, because this is where I ended off here. Chief Crowley had already warned Bass last month that $17.6 million of cuts the mayor successfully steered through the city council vote had severely limited the department's capacity to prepare for, train for, and respond to large-scale emergencies, including wildfires. Yeah, this was definitely worth reading. Crowley wrote the warning in a December 4th memo, first reported by NBC LA, highlighting the 7 million reduction in overtime variable staffing hours it caused, which adversely affected the department's ability to maintain more operations, such as training, fire prevention, and community education. Once again, like I titled today's stream, is Karen Bass literally trying to burn Los Angeles down? Because it seems like it. It genuinely seems like that's what she's trying to do. And because all of the truth is coming out now, a whole lot of truth is coming out right now. We have Governor Gavin Newsom, as Donald Trump would say, Governor Gavin Newsom on the phone with Karen Bass, a Zoom meeting with him, Karen Bass, and Joe Biden. And what we're going to listen to them talk about is how we need more censorship to stop from people like me and many others to speak out on what's going on. Censorship is always the answer for everything with the DNC. Whenever too much truth is getting out, censor, 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 censor. And I'm going to play this clip for you right now. Let's get into it. It's only about 40 seconds long. Let's jump into that right now.
Ask you, we've got to deal with this misinformation. There were hurricane force winds of mis and disinformation, lies. People want to divide this country, and we're going to have to address that as well. And it breaks my heart as people are suffering and struggling that we're up against those hurricane forces as well. And that's just a point of personal privilege that I share that with you, because it infects real people that are out there, people I meet every single day, people the mayor's been meeting with, and they're having conversations that are not the typical conversations you'd have at this time, and you wonder where this stuff comes from, and it's very damaging as well. But we're here to get the job done.
You guys are there to steal money. That's what you're there to do. These guys aren't there to get the job done. They are there to steal money. That's my opinion. I was going to say facts, but you got to be careful on YouTube. Got to be careful. You can't say facts, you know, how you say it figuratively, as a figure of speech, right? You know, facts. Well, my opinion, YouTube, my opinion. I don't want to get hit with any type of misinformation, disinformation, right? I don't want Gavin Newsom to come and shut down this operation over here and censor me, because too much truth is coming out, right? We see all the truth that's coming out concerning Karen Bass, right? And all these budget cuts. And it's not just Karen Bass. It's Gavin Newsom as well. Gavin Newsom cut $100 million from fire prevention budget before California fires. This is why this man wants Biden to desperately censor all this information coming out. Now, as many of you may know already, Mark Zuckerberg, and I got to watch the interview. I haven't watched it yet with him on Joe Rogan, but I have seen clips of it. I'll say this much. Oh, my man Mark Zuckerberg was snitching. Zuckerberg was snitching on Joe Biden. And I love it. I love it. I'm glad that the truth is getting out. But he was on Joe Rogan telling everything concerning the censorship and the pressure and the investigations that were starting to come down on Facebook if they didn't play ball with the Biden administration, right? Let's see some more information that has been coming out that they don't want coming out, right? Recently, I believe this was actually today. I'll pull this tweet up for you and then I'll play the video. This tweet reads, Robert Rivas, Democrat, obviously, Speaker of the California State Assembly, fumbles through his response after getting blasted by a reporter for holding a special legislative session to fight Trump while fires rage through the state. Total incompetence. These people are still running meetings on how to stop Donald Trump. Meanwhile, the state is burning down, completely burning down. I'm talking about, you should see some of the videos online, the drone footage of the Palisades and whatnot. There's nothing left. Whole neighborhood just ashes. And more neighborhoods are still turning into ashes as we speak. And instead of dealing with that, what Gavin Newsom, right, and the local officials here in California, what they're doing is game planning essentially how to frustrate Trump's mass deportation efforts. These guys are completely incompetent. Let me play this video for you right now so we can see and hear this guy fumbling and bumbling all over the place when he was pressed about this nonsensical meeting that they just essentially have no business having at this point.
Couple of questions. I do have to jump on a call here in a few minutes.
With that, I mean, with what you.
And I do want to say this also as well. It appears that the volume may be a little bit low on this one, so my apologies if it is. If you're in a crowded, noisy area, sorry about that. The volume might be a little bit low on this one, so listen up.
I could take a couple of questions. I do have to jump on a call here in a few minutes.
With that, I mean, with what you just mentioned and kicked off here, is now the right time to have a special legislative session on allocating money to fight Trump in a way that you could already do without a special legislative session?
So I'm here to address these wildfires. This is a historic wildfire. This is a historic event. These wildfires, as I mentioned, are going to be quite possibly some of the worst wildfires and disasters in state and in national history.
While this wildfire is happening, and while people are trying to understand what's going on and are worried about disaster relief, worried about the ability to get homeowners insurance, your chamber gavelled into a special legislative session to prepare for Donald Trump in a way that you are already able to do without a special legislative session. So again, is now the right time for that?
So certainly our focus right now is Speaker Ashley. At this moment, my colleagues and I, we are acting with great urgency to ensure that we're providing much needed relief to Angelenos, to ensure that we understand what it's going to take for this region to recover, and to support those that have been most impacted by this disaster. The response from our first responders has been unprecedented, and they're doing all that they can to control and contain again these multiple fires. They're doing whatever they can to ensure that that they're keeping people safe now, and again, in anticipation and in preparation for recovery. And as a state, as a legislature, we will do everything we can to support that recovery.
Disgusting. Disgusting. And what's so funny about all this in closing, I want to play a quick clip from Ron DeSantis because he spoke on this earlier today. I believe he was in Mar-a-Lago with Trump when he made this statement, when he answered this question. Had Gavin Newsom been Republican or Karen Bass, you would be hearing about the incompetence of these two like crazy. Every misstep, every failure would have been running on Hyperloop on the mainstream DNC media, which is essentially every news channel for the most part, with the exception of like Fox News and the New York Post, right? You would be hearing about this stuff, the $100 million cuts here, $49 million cuts there, $1.3 billion for the homeless, but only half of it was spent. The other half, who knows where it actually is or where it went? You know what I mean? You'd be hearing about this like crazy. But because they're Democrats, instead of highlighting and putting the spotlight as they should on these incompetent people, what does the mainstream press do? Well, you do what you always do. You find a way and a reason to blame Donald Trump, because everything's Donald Trump's fault. Literally everything is Donald Trump's fault. Always, 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 always. And going back to Gavin Newsom, when we just watched the video, I'll pull it up here, but I won't play it again. We just watched this video of him literally begging begging Joe Biden to do something. We need censorship, man. All of this misinformation, which is truth, coming out. We need you to do something. Silence these people, That's what they're looking to happen with all the fact checks that we've been seeing surrounding Donald Trump's statement. But we all know that these fact checks are biased. And what they need to do is focus on the facts surrounding the incompetence of Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass. So like I said, let me play this video now of Ron DeSantis speaking on this in closing, and then we're going to shut this thing down for the night. Let's get into this right now. And please hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video out on your social media platforms if you haven't already. Make sure you follow me on Rumble and Telegram. Both my links to the Rumble and Telegram are in the description box below, and we pin in the comment section as well once this stream is over. Let's get into this in closing.
President-elect or a president to be criticized.
Let me start it from the beginning. My apologies.
Appropriate for the president-elect or a president to be criticizing.
Is it appropriate for people in your industry to try to create division and to try to create narratives anytime these things happen? Now, you're not as interested in doing that because Newsom is a D. If Newsom was a Republican, you guys would you would have him nailed to the wall for what they're doing over there. And I know we've dealt with it. We just assume in Florida, anytime something happens, it's going to be politicized by the media. So you guys sitting in judgment of Donald Trump, I mean, excuse me, I think your track record of politicizing these things is very, very bad.
Okay, last question.
Newsom should resign and that the wildfires are all his fault. So do you agree with those comments?
I remember when we had the Surfside Tower collapse, I had people from the Washington Post trying to blame me for it immediately without having any facts or anything. Oh, he didn't declare a state of emergency. First of all, state of emergency doesn't mean you can't respond. It's all that. Excuse me?
Biden did it. I think that's what she said.
Well, but what I'm telling you is you guys are trying to make an issue of it when I have watched from this seat. In fact, when I got elected governor, I was meeting with some of the other Republican governors, and what they would say is, hey, if you have a natural disaster, just know media's coming at you, they're going to do it. It's not the same. That mayor of LA, if that were a Republican mayor, I could only imagine what that would do. I mean, the fires are at high risk, and you try to go to Africa or wherever she was to go on some type of voyage. You should have been there preparing and doing that, and yet I don't see a lot of heat being directed in that thing. And so, I'd like to see some balance on how this is done. You could criticize the president-elect, but I think you also have to hold these other people accountable, and I have not seen that.
And you'll never see it. You'll never see it. That'll never happen. Not with the DNC mainstream media liberal press. You're never going to see that. That is unbelievable when you really kind of just sit and give it some real thought. Right? Karen Bass essentially knew that this fire was coming, right? She knew that this was a strong possibility, especially given all the cuts that these folks are making over there with the fire department and fire prevention. She knew and still got on a plane to Ghana. Said, yeah, you guys deal with it. You got it. It's not my problem. What did DeSantis say? She went on a voyage instead. I'm going on my voyage. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I'm pretty sure more unbelievable news is going to be coming out as the days go by because this isn't over yet, man. This is not over. Fire is still spreading like crazy, just turning neighborhoods to ash one after another after another. And with all that, that does it for today's stream. So I want to thank you guys for joining me today. What we're going to do now is I'm going to get into these super chats and read some of these questions and statements off. But if you're going to take off, please just hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and follow me on Telegram. I cannot stress that enough. Please, if you don't do anything else, follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. The link to my Telegram is in the description box below. That is very, very, very important. So let's get into the first super chat here, right? The first question that we have here. And it reads as such. My apologies. Give me just a second, guys. What the heck? Okay. Revelator of the Spirit of Variance said, this should be a clear sign that Karen Bass's political career will be over after this. Another major loss for the Democrats. I'm right there with you. I mean, you would like to believe that it's going to be over for her, but I don't know, man. I wouldn't be surprised if she got voted back into office again. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised, but I think it is going to be pretty hard and challenging for her. It's definitely going to be pretty hard and challenging for her, you know, for her to get back in. But I wouldn't be surprised. You would think that folks out here, for those of you who don't know, I am in Los Angeles. You would think for those of us out here, they would just operate with common sense and would completely reject Democrats wholesale, but no, that's yet to be seen. That's yet to be seen. Shout out to my man Saul for feeding my family as he always does. He said they need needles. They need needles. I'm trying to think back of what you could have been responding to. I don't know. But thank you, bro, for always coming through as you always do. And I see you had ran it back one more time, so I'll get to the next one. Shout out to my man Revelator, the Spirit of Variance, came back again and said 2024 was the year of revelation. 2025 will be the year of consequences. Consequences that Karen Bass will have to suffer. There's no way she's going to come back from this. I really hope so. But the thing is this. I think the reason that I really say I really hope is because I don't think that she can win again, actually, honestly, right? But when I'm saying they're going to vote for another Democrat is my point. Like that's the thing. Like, you know, like she's done. Gavin Newsom and his aspirations to be president and run for president in 2028, forget about it. That's if anybody's done, Gavin Newsom is finished. Gavin Newsom is cooked. Gavin Newsom is cooked. That man is cooked. His 2028 aspirations to become president, forget about it. Forget about it. Karen Bass, I don't see her coming back, but I do see another Democrat mayor in Los Angeles, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Shout out to Alicia Hill. I believe that's how you pronounce your name. Thank you for this. Karen gave a speech praising Kamala's qualification at her rally. None of these folks are qualified. None of them are qualified. I wish I had the I'll save it. It's another article that I wanted to pull up. I wanted to read the headline from, but I'll save it for another day. Let's get into this right here. Benton Jr. Bay said Bass and Newsom are siphoning money through homeless foundations. They thought it would go smooth as usual, and it burned them in the butt. Pun intended, right? Definitely burned them. It definitely burned them. Thank you. I appreciate you, Benton Jr. Bay, for the support. My man Saul ran it back. He said they're still going to find a way to blame Donald Trump. They blame Donald Trump for everything. Donald Trump said that Gavin Newsom needs to resign, and these folks went crazy. You know, they any opportunity to blame Donald Trump for something, they're going to do it, even when there's nothing to say. Like the news shouldn't be about him. It should be about Gavin Newsom, Karen Bass, and their incompetence, right? Shout out to Crew Reality, Grand Negus, who became a channel member. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for becoming a channel member. My man Saul ran it back one more time, the third time. He said Texas had a bad winter storm. Ted Cruz was in Mexico. He was then called Fled Cruz. I remember that. What was that, like 3 years ago? Something like that, Saul? I think it was around 3 years ago, right? Something like that. When you guys had that really bad winter storm over there, Ted Cruz was gone. In the mainstream DNC media press, they were, as Ron DeSantis would say, they nailed Ted Cruz to the wall for not being in Texas and being in Mexico, right? when that winter storm came. But now we see, I mean, at least he just drove right across the border. Karen Bass went on on a 15-hour plane ride to Ghana, just took off, knowing that this was going to happen, and they're quiet about it. Have nothing to say, of course. Shout out to the Church of Black Power, who said, for your 1 month of service as a channel member, thank you very much, and stated that the money was used to take care of illegal. I am so glad you said that, because I was going to say that earlier. It slipped my mind, then I remembered midstream, and I just said, well, I'll bring it up again later, on another stream. But in all honesty, and I'll still say this on another stream later, right? But I'm going to say this right now. Mark my words, right? Moving forward, homeless is going to be the new code word for migrants. When they're talking about homeless people, they're talking about illegal immigrants. Mark my words. Because as these shelters begin to close down, as many have closed down already in Chicago, many have closed down in New York, and they're closing down in states and cities all across the country. As far as sanctuary cities are concerned, that in and of itself is going to balloon the homeless population, as it already has in the city of Chicago. And instead of hearing about, quote, migrants, right, illegal immigrants, you're going to hear a lot more about how we need to increase the budget for the homeless, right? And you're not going to really hear the word migrants anymore, but you're going to hear a lot about homeless. That's just a code word that they're going to start using now for so-called migrants, which are illegal immigrants. Watch out for that moving forward. You're going to see a lot of these homeless budgets balloon. Right, they're going to start ballooning, and they're going to inflate these budgets now behind the guise of helping the homeless, when that's not really what it's about. It's about pocketing that money while at the same time dealing with the illegal immigrants that they have welcomed into their cities and states. Shout out to William Arant. I hope I'm saying your last name right. William Arant, who said, "Where are Republicans? Where are Republicans to flip the state?" I hope they're here. I mean, if you look at how many counties flipped in California in this election, a lot of counties flip. I don't know if you saw the compare and contrast from the 2020 county map and the 2024 county map. I don't want to give a number and just be all the way off, but I think forgive me if I'm wrong about this, but I think 10 states flipped. I mean, 10 counties here flipped. 10 counties flipped, I think, here in California. A lot of counties flipped red. So as far as, the governorship is concerned, I think there's a better chance at us getting another Republican governor here in California than that happening here in Los Angeles. I just can't see it in LA. I can't see it here. But I can honestly see it as far as being a governor is concerned. I can see it. But as far as mayor of LA, I don't see it. But we'll have to see. I think the last Republican governor of California was Arnold Schwarzenegger, if I remember correctly. That was years ago. My man William ran it back again. He said, "TD, it's gruesome Newsom, sir." Gruesome Newsom. I'll start using that. Gruesome Newsom. Shout out to Bernie Books Tour, who said, "Have you looked up Karen Bass's resume? Please do." I'll look into it. I'll check it out. I'll check out her resume. And shout out to, I don't know how to pronounce your name. Is NZ New Zealand? Is that like New Zealand, NZ, New Zealand dollars? I'll try. Let's see. Let me take a crack at it. Vercingetorix. Vercingetorix. I hope I'm saying your last name. I hope I'm saying your name right. And I think that NZ is New Zealand. If it is, shout out to you, because I haven't received a super sticker or super chat from New Zealand before. So I appreciate you. If you're way out there in New Zealand, I appreciate the support. That's dope, man. Thank you so much. And with all that being said, that does it for today's show. So thank you all for joining me today. I will catch you guys later. Hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platforms. All that good stuff. And please, I'm on bended knees, okay? On bended knees. You guys always know what I'm begging for and begging about. I'm on bended knees. Follow me on Telegram, okay? That is very important that you follow me on Telegram to circumvent social media censorship. Say it with me, and shadow banning, as I always say. So I'll catch you guys later, man. Peace and have a great night. Have a great evening and a safe one.